Councilmember Argumedo,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Rebollo, Vice Mayor Lainez,
Here.
and Mayor Altamirano.
Here. We'll go ahead and open up public comment. Is there any public comment? Seeing none, public comment is closed. And we have 2 items on open session. Closed session.
2 items on closed session. Number 1, conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated potential litigations, 2 matters. Item number 2, successor agency will confirm with its real property negotiator, Ernie Hernandez, with respect to real estate negotiations concerning proposed price and other terms relating to the Commerce Refuse to Energy Authority facility site located at 5926 Sheila Street.
Okay, we are now recessed to closed session. coming in from closed session. Can you please report out?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. With all 5 members of the City Council being present, the City Council met in closed session, discussed item number 1. There were 2 matters under regarding anticipated litigation, potential litigation. City staff made a presentation on both. City Council provided direction. No final reportable action was taken. City Council discussed item number 2, which is a discussion about real estate negotiations. City staff made a presentation. City Council provided direction. No final reportable action was taken. And that concludes my report out of closed session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now the city council meeting is going to start. We have a special concurrent meeting and our regular meeting going on at the same time. We're going to open up for both, public comment for both, roll call for both. So can I please, this meeting call to order. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Argumedo,
Here.
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Rebollo, Vice Mayor Lainez,
Here.
Mayor Argumedo, or excuse me, Mayor Altamirano.
Here.
I'm sorry.
Are you looking into the future? Okay. All right. So the Pledge of Allegiance we will have by the Public Works Director, Shahid Abbas, and our invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Lainez.
If you don't mind standing up, please face the flag and place your right hand on your chest. And here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
As we gather here this evening, let us take a moment and ground ourselves in gratitude for our community, our shared purpose, and the opportunity to serve. In a month where we recognize strength, courage, caution, and care, may we be shepherded by those virtues, along with reason, good intentions, and a commitment to fairness as we make decisions that impact the day-to-day lives of those we serve. Let us remember that every voice in our city matters, from our seniors who built this community's foundation to our youth who will carry its promise forward. Tonight's work should be approached with open minds and steady hearts, seeking solutions that uplift, not divide, that strengthen, not strain, and that ensure opportunity for all who call Commerce home. Let collaboration and respect lead us in our discussions, and may the actions we take here tonight, tomorrow, and always reflect the best of who we are. A city rooted in pride, hard work, compassion, and community. Thank you.
All right, we have appearances and presentations, and we have item number 1. It's a National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Commerce. A proclamation, the Commerce City Council designating October 2025 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Commerce. Oh, were you going to talk to us?
I would like to make a small presentation, if that's okay.
Oh, okay, sorry about that.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Moira Garcia. I'm Social Service Coordinator. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and on this month, we encourage our community, our leaders, to wear pink to raise awareness to the importance of making time for our well-being. So at this time, I would like to show a little informational video about breast cancer. it's really important to get tested. So because of that, we got in partnership with the FHCCGLA, which is a clinic here on Washington, and they will be providing a resource table at Rosewood Library on Wednesday, October 22nd from 4 to 6. And information will be given about cancer prevention, early detection, and support resources. This flyer is also on the library's website, and we also have other resources that provide 24 hotline for people who want to ask questions about anything that has to do with cancer and breast cancer. And then we also have a breast cancer walk that will be hosted by the Citadel, so you would have to look on their website so that you can sign up and register for that. That would be on October 22nd. I also want to thank Parks and Rec Yolanda Boone for the decorations that we have here for the council meeting, and I want to thank you for all your support.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Commerce, whereas the United States government has declared October 2025 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and whereas National Breast Cancer Awareness Month is an annual international health campaign organized by major breast cancer charities every October, and whereas breast cancer is the second leading cause of death in women, with more than 316,950 women and 2,800 men expected to be diagnosed this year. And whereas Breast Cancer Awareness Month will raise the public knowledge and awareness to take necessary steps to reduce the risk of breast cancer through early detection and treatment. And whereas for over 100 years, the American Cancer Society has worked relentlessly to save lives and create a world with less cancer. And whereas the American Cancer Society is actively fighting breast cancer by helping women get tested to find breast cancer earlier, and helping them understand their treatment options and cope with the physical and emotional side effects. And whereas the members of the City Council strongly support the efforts of the American Cancer Society to promote breast cancer awareness, now therefore, the Commerce City Council hereby proclaims October 2025 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the City of Commerce to increase awareness and promote early detection of this disease. Passed and adopted this 14th day of October 2025, signed by the Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. We're going to take a photo. Okay. Who's this? We'll go ahead and open up public comment. And our first speaker, Gloria Nezalhualcoyo.
This is in your agenda item. So the City of Commerce remains dedicated to enhancing the urban environment and cultivating civic pride through meaningful public arts. The subcommittee continues to explore impactful opportunities to collaborate with artists and bring creative expression to our shared spaces. That's from your arts in public places. And this subcommittee does not have a regular scheduled meetings. So how can the residents track the work of this subcommittee or submit public comments? I blink and I miss your meeting. Because I did blink, may I ask what is the theme for all these murals, if there is one? Now, did you invite local artists, especially the art students, to submit our works for consideration? Like our city employees, Concepcion Flores, Camila Diaz, and Sean Diaz, which are already available. Previous administrations did request submissions from residents, and the results were published on a city calendar, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people still have it because the pictures, the artwork was great. So why is it that you are not nurturing our budding artists, our future Judy Bacchus, Lalo Alcarazes, Willie Herons, or Gronks? We have nurtured our athletes, Brenda Villa, Patricia Cárdenas, Lilia Magaña, Javier Molina, our scientists, NASA engineer Marco Herrera, mechanical engineer Professor Brian Ramirez, through our scholarships programs. But we are not supporting our local artists. You're about to spend around $250,000, and none of this money is being used to enhance the experience of our students, of our own artists. So you should rethink the program as a benefit for the city and residents. Rethink this program and decide on a goal of what you want the city to project. Not just spend money on a whim. You have to nurture our artists. Self-Help Access Collective is available if you need help in selecting work, artists, or someone to mentor our local budding artists. So it's just keep wasting the money because nobody else is saying anything, and our poor students, our poor artists, no one's gonna nurture them. Thank you.
That was the one and only public comment. Public comment is now closed. I'd like to say that about 4 or 5 months ago, there was some funds approved to create some classes or some art classes for the teens and for the seniors. And I'm happy to say that the program for the seniors is going to start. And what they're going to be creating after meeting with staff is they're going to teach the artists how to paint. It could take 1-2 months, and then from there they're going to create one beautiful piece that'll be presented to put somewhere in City of Commerce, and the seniors can all be involved. Eventually, the same thing's going to happen for the teens. So I'm kind of surprised Gloria missed that. They were at the senior center today, but okay. All right, now we're going to go to consent calendar, and looking at both items we have on the concurrent special meeting, we have items 1 through 2, and then on the regular meeting we have consent calendar 2 through 7.
Honorable Mayor, members of City Council, staff would like to continue item number 6 on the regular meeting and item number 9 on the regular meeting to a future regular scheduled City Council meeting.
9 on the regular meeting, and we're also going to continue the Women in Walls art consideration. They're waiting for a quote.
So 6 and 9 on consent. The Women in Walls item on the special meeting is part of scheduled matters.
Okay, so item number 9, was that on consent?
No.
It's regular? Yeah. Okay,
So only item number 6, I apologize.
So item number 6 and number 4 on the special concurrent meeting is going to be moved, but then we're also going to move item number 9 on the regular meeting, is what you're saying?
You can do it now, yes.
Okay.
That's a request from
All
staff.
right, that's fine. Okay, so then we have items on the consent calendar 1 I'm sorry, on the, which one is this one? This is the concurrent special meeting. We have items 1 and 2. And then on the regular meeting, we have 1 through 5 and 7. Is there a motion for approval?
Mayor, just to make it easier, could we move on one agenda and then move to the next? And then-
Absolutely.
Yeah, just for, so let's go to the regular city council agenda first,
Okay.
and let's move on those items, if
Okay.
you don't mind, just to keep things a little bit in order here.
Got it. Understood. All right, so then on the regular meeting, we have items 1 through 5 and 7.
Mayor, if there are no questions, I'll move to approve consent calendar items 2 through 5 and 7.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, there's a second. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? See none, motion passes. Now moving on to concurrent special meeting, we have on consent calendar, items 1 and 2. Is there a motion to approve? There's a motion, and there's a second. All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? See none, motion passes. So we'll go ahead and go to the scheduled matters. I'll stay on the concurrent special meeting, and we're going to talk about item number 3, the right-of-way use of agreement with the Gateway Cities Council. So who would be reporting on that?
Honorable Mayor, members of City Council, it is my pleasure today to bring this item before you for a city-owned broadband network. And we have the pleasure of having Mr. Hector De La Torre, Executive Director of the Council of Governments, that will brief us on this, what's before you tonight. Sir.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you, City Manager Hernandez. Council, it's great to be here with you again. This time, I'm actually bringing you something that's worth $2.8 million, and you're getting it for free. We're going to connect to this building that we're in right now with high-speed fiber optic cable that is much faster than what you could get from the operators that are out there. You could get fiber, I mean, most of you probably have it at home. It's usually under 1 gigabyte per second. We are talking about 10 gigabytes per second for what we're going to be connecting this building. You will have 2 additional fiber lines, dark, that you can light up and use however you want, that will be yours. So there's 3 kind of come into this building, 1 for the building itself, and then 2 extra ones that you can do whatever you want with. Very important that we have this right-of-way agreement that you have in front of you be the base agreement, because it forms the basis of what is going to come after. Once this is installed, and it's going to be done by December of 2026, that is the deadline that we have. And when we finish, there's going to be an entity. It's not going to be the COG, because there's only 24 cities of the 27 in the COG that are part of this network. So those 24 cities will co-own the system and will run it accordingly. This is not anything, it's not a new invention. South Bay COG has already done this. They've been operating their network for a couple of years now, and they have found 2 things. The service is much faster, and it's much cheaper to them. You are going to have to pay for an ISP, and that will be done by the 24 city grouping. But in terms of the hard line that is going to come into this building, that is free, which of course obviously reduces the cost of operations tremendously when you're not having to pay for the construction of the system. I know there were some issues the city manager and I discussed, so there is a side letter because we can't touch the right-of-way agreement. Again, that's the baseline for everything we're doing. And so there is a side letter that we're going to, that we've agreed to. So that's part of this as well. Going forward, what can you do with this? You can connect potentially residents in the city. You could connect big industrial or commercial facilities that you have in your city. You can do smart city applications with your traffic lights and those kinds of things. You can do intercity communications and IT collaboration with neighboring cities because you're all going to be on the same network with each other. So there are a lot of possibilities here. Bellflower is talking about doing a Wi-Fi network in their city where they're going to put Wi-Fi towers throughout the city and make it free to the residents. So there's lots of possibilities here, but it all starts with this. And so we're very much looking forward to delivering on this project once you approve the right-of-way agreement.
So if I may, Mayor, Member City Council, as Mr. Delatorre said, this is step one to make this a possibility for this community. At a future date, prior to completion of the construction, we will bring forward a variety of ideas and concepts for the City Council to consider as to what to do with the part of this network that is solely for the discretion of the city. And so before you, we handed out, in lieu of the attachments that are a part of the staff report, we have an unaltered right-of-way agreement that's recommended for approval, along with your authorizing myself or designee to administer the agreement, any finalization of any plans, and signing of the side letter that's also before you today.
Happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
I have,
Councilman?
yeah, I have a question. And the question I have is the total number of lines that are going to be run for this connection is how many?
3.
3 total.
Well, it's actually 4 because we're doing redundancy. So we're
Okay.
connecting this building from 2 directions for redundancy. In case something goes wrong on one, you're still connected.
Okay.
And that's what the 2 that you're going to get for free is the same idea. You always want to have 2 just in case.
Okay, and those points are from where to where? So
We're
the
connecting you
termination
to the
point is here?
state middle mile network. You have the map on your item. It's at the back of the right-of-way agreement. And that shows you where it's connecting. But we're connecting to the state middle mile, which is if you want to think about it this way, the trunk line for the state of California. So we're connecting you to the trunk line. We're not connecting you to a branch. We're connecting you to the trunk. And I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's wherever the 5 freeway is. A lot of them run alongside the major freeways in California.
Okay, that was the question that I had. So at any point, I mean, if we wanted to upgrade that, that's obviously not going to be possible without.
Well, that's on you to do. But again, I think a lot of these decisions are going to be made by the entity that is created by the 24 co-owners. In terms of, I know there's interest here in connecting some of your major commercial and industrial. You're not the only ones. I was just in Santa Fe Springs on Friday. I know they want to do that. So this is cities are getting creative about how they want to use this. And we encourage you to. We want a robust, that's the whole point, right? I've made the analogy that we're giving you a Ferrari, we're leaving it in your driveway, we're giving you the keys, and we're walking away. So you decide whether you leave it in the driveway or you take it out for a spin. Because this is the most robust system that there is in the state of California.
Thank you. So it would be up to us to upgrade if we wanted additional bandwidth, additional lines installed at a future time then. That's up to us on the expenditures related to that.
Yeah.
But
unless the group of 24 cities decided that they wanted to invest collectively in it and, finance it or whatever. So again, the possibilities are endless. Just know that the initial cost to you and to everybody, all 24 cities, is 0.
Right.
So you're starting out ahead of the game where you're not having to finance any of that. You have zero cost for the installation, and then, that makes it easier to
No, thank you. That is good information.
from a business standpoint, you can
Yeah,
maximize
that's
it.
good information, and I'm asking this question because, the potential for tapping into that is there, but I can see us, utilizing a lot of that really quickly. And so the biggest expense is when you first running it initially. So if you plan for, the future, then the expense is you're just paying for the additional wire, to run. And if you're going to do it once, but do it with sufficient capacity to be able to address the future. So
Well, one
that's
of
why
the
I'm asking
things-
the question.
Yeah, one of the things that we, to that point, the standard vaults for these, that are, when they're in the street, are, I forget what it is, I think it's 2x3 or something, it's pretty small. We're putting in 4x4, and it's for that reason. So that if there is going to be expansion in the future, or a city wants to send out lines, splice and send out lines that there's going to be room to do it, physical room to do it. And so we have thought about these things. We don't need it for the operation as it is now, but at some point somebody might want it and need it, and so we're building it now to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. De La Torre, thank you.
Any other questions? Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. Hector, thanks for joining us here today and kind of walking through this item. Obviously, this is a very exciting opportunity for the Gateway Cities region, and to have an ownership stake in an upgraded state-of-the-art digital infrastructure. I think it's something that carries a lot of benefits, a lot of opportunities, and especially in our city, right, where we have such a heavy business community, right? I think there's a lot of opportunity that we can certainly unlock for our business community and our residents as well, right? I think we have challenges with certain ISPs currently, right? With cable and some of the things that we currently utilize. So I think, I've personally heard some, comments from other people in the community just wanting more options, right? And so I think this certainly gives us that. And it also gives us a lot more control than it would from a private company, right? So I think it's a really great opportunity. I know we have to move quickly, but I think our staff's done a great job of just reviewing everything and just being diligent. And I appreciate you and the rest of the COG just kind of looking at things and addressing those concerns and, just really stepping up to make sure that this is something that we fully understand and we're comfortable stepping into. So thank you.
Thank you. And we will be having a workshop for the cities to talk about all these possibilities and how do you pay for them. So that will be happening early next year. So obviously we'll invite City Manager Hernandez to that and whatever staff you would like to be part of it. We want to maximize the benefit of this thing. Like I said, the Ferrari can stay in the driveway, but I think it's funner if you take it out for a spin. We are very, very excited. There's only 64 weeks left until we have to finish this project, all 24 cities. So thank you for considering it today, because we really need to wrap up this part of it so that we can get to that part.
Thank you. So, Mayor, if those are my comments.
Okay. You have a question? No? You do? Okay, go ahead.
Really quickly, can you please walk me through, I'm not sure if you mentioned this already. This is an optic network that we're talking about. Is this built underground?
It's a mix
Can you explain
of
that to me?
underground and aerial. No new poles, but in some cases it's just more pragmatic to put it on a pole. Some places it's underground.
So do we have a location where you're going to start building? Do we have a say-so? Do we have our input to say where we?
Yeah, it's the route that's on the map that you have in the right-of-way agreement. It shows a line where it's coming from, And then from here, it's going to connect to Bell Gardens because obviously all 24 are going to be connected to each other. But again, two directions for redundancy.
And the construction thank you. The construction that would be taking place, will our streets be back to normal, like?
Yes, yeah. So
Properly done.
that's the part, once we sign the agreement, then the next step is we work with staff to go over the route one more time. So we're going to make sure, and this is in the side letter as well, that this conforms with what you need in terms of notification, in terms of how long it's going to take to dig and do all that work. So that is, as I've told our cities many times, we're not going to screw you. You're one of us. I mean, you're ours. So we will work with you, make sure everything is good with you before a shovel hits the ground.
So part of the staff recommendation tonight is to authorize the very action that Mr. Del Toro is speaking to, is finalizing that route. And then, so for example, we have a project on Slauson, right, coming up. And so we would prioritize and work around that so that it doesn't make sense to do this and then do the Slauson project after, right? So we'll have to figure all those kinds of things out. And there's flexibility in the agreement to do that. And so we'll have our team here to work together with the COG. And I think that's the one thing that we have to wrap our hands around here, is that this is our network. So we're not, when we do a street project, we're not fixing their lines, it's our lines, right? We're not, and so in that context, right, we're maintaining our system. Now we're going to have a network system. And I mean, this is primarily funded through a grant from the CPUC, right?
One from about half of it's CPUC, half of it's California Department of Technology.
So we're, in a way, right, we're a utility owner now, which is always good, like we are with our water system.
Yeah.
How long is
And
the
we've had that in other cities where they tell us, we're going to be repaving this street. Can you do it before we do ours? Or can you push it back and do it later when we're actually going to do our repaving? So we've done that in a few cities where we've adjusted our calendar to match the needs of the city. So these are the kinds of details that staff will work out with the team.
Last question, how long does a project like this last?
In
Is it
the
in
city?
here? Yes.
I don't know how much in your city. Like I said, we have 64 weeks to do it all.
Okay.
So it'll be some subset of that, but it won't be it won't be like a year. It'll be probably a few weeks.
Okay, thank you. Those are my
Yeah.
questions.
One last thing in terms of the development of this project. Gateway Cities isn't even getting connected. We're just the vehicle to deliver it for you. We're the ones who went out and got the grants, and et cetera, et cetera. So we get no benefit from this, as the city manager just pointed out. It's your system. We're just the ones who are delivering it to all 24.
This really is a big win for the COG and City of Commerce. I think it puts us in a place where you will be able to decide what's in the best interest of the community with regards to the technology needs of the future. Because what we have, this is much better than what we have now.
I agree. And so, Mayor, if there aren't any other questions from the council, I would like to move to approve the staff recommendation, items 1 and 2 per the staff report.
Second.
There's the amended, so it's the original row, unaltered.
Correct.
And then authorized 2 with also authorizing myself to sign the side letter agreement.
That's correct. That's sections 1 and 2 from the staff report.
Okay.
There was a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes.
Thank you.
We're now going to schedule matters on the regular meeting, which is a presentation, item number 8, a presentation from the Sheriff's Department.
Mayor, Council, good evening. Hope all is well. Sergeant Barreras with your City of Commerce Public Safety presentation. We're going to go over, next slide, please. This is going to be the crime stats, Part 1 crimes for the entire month of September, from the 1st to the 30th. We'll start off with assaults. Commerce had 18 assaults that were reported, 6 robberies, 15 burglaries, 61 thefts, 19 auto thefts, and 2 arsons. Next slide. Again, Part 1 crime, September 1st to the 30th. On this slide here, what we do is we compare crime stats from City of Commerce as to from those of other areas that we patrol, being Cudahy, Maywood, and East LA. And on the right, you'll notice there's some information pertaining to each city's population and area and square miles, just as reference for those that are viewing. For assaults, Commerce had 18, Cudahy had 9, Maywood 8, East LA 42. For robberies, Commerce had 6, Cudahy 2, Maywood 4, and East LA 15. Burglaries, Commerce 15, Cudahy had 7, Maywood 1, East LA 18. For thefts, Commerce had 61, Cudahy had 13, Maywood 12, and East LA 93. Auto thefts, Commerce 19, Cudahy had 7, Maywood 10, and East LA 19. Arsons, Commerce, had 2, Cudahy had none, Maywood none, and East Los Angeles also had none. Next slide. These will be the total arrests for the entire month of September from the 1st to the 30th. We had 24 felony arrests and 38 misdemeanor arrests for the entire month. Next slide, please. Next slide. On September 11th, SEO deputies assisted Ed Salcedo and the HART team with the clearing up of an encampment located at 2155 South Atlantic Boulevard. This was at some point filled with property, trash. With his assistance, we were able to remove the individual. He's on the far left. I don't know if you can see him, but he left without incident. Next slide. And our deputies also assisted with the City of Commerce Fiestas Patrias. That'll conclude my presentation. Any more questions?
No, nobody has questions. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate you. We're skipping 9. We're going straight to 10. And 10 is Art and Public Places Program, installation of 9 utility murals and 1 with the post box.
Honorable Mayor, members of City Council, this is an item that continues the city's efforts in enhancing the urban environment and cultivating pride with the arts. We have a presentation. Can you bring that up, please? So we have a total of 9 or 10 pieces of art and locations for you to consider tonight. Go ahead. So we'll go through them, and then we can answer any questions after that.
I think, Ernie, that was like a misprint because Kobe's not going to end up going there at Heritage Park, right? There's going to be some different things.
Well, let's go through and you can tell me which one it is.
This first one, yeah.
Yeah. Go to the next one, please.
Oh, is it that one? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Go to the next one.
Oh, this one has options for us to choose something. I do like that one.
So,
is there a preference? You guys want to choose A through D?
I have a question. Utility box has 4 sides, right? So, well, I don't know. I guess that's one side of it, right? Like, what is the rest of it?
Visual side.
Yeah. Like, is it background or?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, like one on each side.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is, like, just in general, right? A box is 4 sides, right? Not counting the top and the bottom, which you can't see. And I only thought about this because we're picking options, right? But like, okay, so this is going to go on one side, whatever we pick, but what goes on the rest? I assume it's like background or stuff. I don't know, right?
Yeah. Unless it's,
I assume this is what faces traffic, right?
yeah,
But
unless they, yeah, if they put like, if we choose option A, if they put roses around, kind of choose the background, right? Unless they put that 4 times. But I think it's really creating a background with the same colors.
yeah, right.
Yeah. But we could definitely give direction to these artists to do that. I don't know. I like, well, I don't know. They all kind of snap out.
I like option B.
Which one?
Option B is nice.
I like the option. I kind of like that too, because then they can use the background of all the candles and stuff all over them.
I like B2 because of the candles and cultural significance and, you know, Dia de los Muertos, right? So,
I like B2 because just looking at Steven Seca and says, "Are you open?"
yeah.
I hope you're not watching this. All right. Yeah, I like option B as well. Okay, so you guys go with option B? All right. Okay. And if we could just get clarity from the artist on what's going to now surround the other 3 areas, what's he going to do?
Well, I think most of these, they show a facade of 2. So you'd want to know what, I mean, I guess conceptually, it'd be the exact same thing on the back and the side of the, because it's 4 sides, right? So for example, go to the next one. Oh, that's not a good example. That's just shadow art, meaning it looks like the mailbox shadow R2D2 or, I don't know, C3PO. I don't know which one that was. Next one. That's also not a good example. Next one. Okay, that's a good example. In this case, in all the other ones like this, it shows the front and the side. So I assume, without speaking to the artist, that the front and the side be the same on the mirroring opposite panels. So for example, the other side of that panel would be pink with the black writing on the other side, the small side. And if you go to the next slide, you see the same thing. Now in this case, I assume it'd be just blue on the sides with the line on both sides of the, but again, without talking to the artist, and frankly, if the city council wants to move forward with these, you would just, if that's what your preference is, that's what we do. A lot of times, if you see some of these in other cities, you'll see that it has an overall theme. So the front might be a little girl playing basketball, the side is another sports activity, and that kind of concept.
We want more people to come to the city, not less.
Okay, go to the last one.
That's
One more. Okay. So, staff's recommendations to review the artwork that's submitted, and consider selecting the artwork and the locations that were proposed, and authorize city manager to execute agreements for one or more of the art pieces and locations selected.
I think the Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a question or a suggestion for Kobe?
I did. Listen, I love Kobe. Like, you know, probably next to Shaq, my favorite player, right?
What?
But I don't know if he aligns with the heritage of commerce. And I kind of talked about this in the last meeting, right? Like, the placement of that utility box is at Heritage Park, and it just seems like it's not a match. And so if we can find another location for Kobe, I'd be open to that. But if we're looking for like a sports figure, right? I think who maybe has a little bit more meaning to commerce could be Fernando Valenzuela. And I say that because, you know, I remember a few months ago watching a documentary, Fernando Nation. So like an ESPN 30 for 30 special. And they showed him training, and I think he was training at Veterans Park. And I've heard stories about him like actually training at Veterans Park. And so, you know, we also had him as Dodgers, right? You know, we have the community Dodger trip. And so if we're looking for like a team and like an athlete to memorialize, you know, if it's not going to be a local athlete, right? Which may be also something to consider. Maybe it's Fernando.
So let's pull one.
How about Canelo?
Wherever he was going to put the Kobe and ask him to come out.
I'm good with Kobe at another location. I just don't think it fits
How about
there.
we switch them for the heart, the flying heart? You know,
Yeah.
put Kobe there instead.
Oh,
And Fernando
okay, go
Valenzuela at
back.
Heritage Park. What do you think?
Where's that?
And that's Telegraph and Atlantic.
Listen, I'm a Clipper fan, so I don't care to see any Laker anywhere. But if you guys want
That's funny.
Lakers,
Are you good with Kobe
switch them to.
on the Telegraph and Atlantic?
I am.
All right, we'll get, I think we'll get rid of the Hart one. We'll get rid of the Hart one, Ernie, and put Kobe there. If it makes sense when he looks at it. All right,
Smart answer.
okay. Then,
Were you done, Mayor?
yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I am. Those are my comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Go ahead.
I just have a question. So are we saying all 9 utility boxes are going to be done by one artist?
Yes, this is all Jerome Castro.
So is he the only one that does utility box?
No, he's not. We've had several. He's the one that did the Dia de los Muertos piece on Telegram.
I'm just going to go back to my comment of, you know, I think we should spread the wealth. But if he's the only one that we have a contract with, then I guess have a choice. I just like for us to like make sure that everybody's getting a piece of the pie, right? How much is it per utility box? I'm sorry.
It looks like it's ranging from like $1,000 each.
That's 9,000. But whatever the will of the council is, I just really think that moving forward, like again, right? Let's consider other artists and like the idea that Mayor Potem just mentioned about putting our own athletes on there or our own. There's a mention of like scholars. You know, we have the guys at MIT, and we have the scientists, and we have, you know. So I think like I really like that consideration of you know, just kind of really showcasing our local talent when somebody comes to the City of Commerce. You know, for them to see who we truly are. And I know that we're going to do that through murals and stuff, but I think the utility box art is also a great way to showcase that. You know, and I'm guilty of it, right? Of always focusing just on the athletes, right? On the Olympics and the Olympians that we have. But yeah, it's time to also you know, showcase our scholars that I very rarely agree with Gloria, very rarely. But like it really did. I started thinking about it like, oh wow, we really don't really showcase the scholars that have come out of the City of Commerce. And I think it's a good idea to do that, you know, maybe on a utility box or whatever gets decided today. But I really do think it is a good idea to do that. And I really would like us to really, I know I keep saying it all the time, and I'm a broken record, to make sure that more artists are able to, you know, put some money in their pockets and put some food on the table for their families. Okay.
So I think these are probably basically going to be the last of the utility boxes. So do you want to put something together where we are able to create the wraps of these scholars and put
I
them
think
up there?
so. I really think so. I think it's just a good idea.
Okay.
Right? Like, and again, I'm guilty of it, right? I just focus on sports. I've never played sports, you know. I was terrible at it. But my son plays sports, right? And I think of sports right away. And every time we showcase something, it's sports related. But we have to think about like we have fine arts, we have dancers, we have scholars, and yeah, it was a good little, we were like, oh yeah, that's actually a good idea. So I don't know what you guys think.
I mean, I like that idea to create the wraps where you're
Yeah.
create a scholar and start to put that throughout. I mean, if we pass one, I mean, if I choose one, I would choose the Dia de los Muertos, the same one.
Yeah, that's a beautiful.
I would say let's approve that, and then the rest, then
Let's
let's
think about
create.
creating like scholar, like showcasing local like residents and their achievements, and then if there's anything else left, like then maybe picking whatever, like the ones
Yeah.
that we picked tonight. I don't know. You guys feel about that?
I'm good with that. I like that idea. You guys like it? It's good. Okay. All right.
So wait,
So
we're going to select some boxes still?
yeah, so we're going to select one box right now, and I think we should stick with the Dia de los Muertos, and we're going to take a look at our scholars and things of that nature, and then now choose the boxes because I don't think there's many boxes left. These are like the last of the boxes. Yeah. So then this gives an opportunity for us to showcase.
You don't want to choose at least 3 and then move forward with the rest of them?
Well, if we
I think the idea is to choose one today, look at the scholars and what we decide, how many scholars we have, the athletes that we want to showcase on them, and then whatever we have left, then choose the rest.
Yeah,
But
because
there's only 9.
yeah,
right?
because if we take a look at this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9. So if let's just say there's 9. If we choose one, which is the Dia de los Muertos, then we have 8 boxes to choose our scholars.
Yeah.
That's all we're gonna have, 8. So maybe we can leave that open,
Yeah,
8 open for now, so we can now see who our scholars are and start to put them up there.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do, it looks like, if I'm
Scholars and local athletes.
yes, okay. So it looks like, if I understand correctly, we're gonna pass one, which is location number 3, with option D. Is that
B.
B?
It's the one for candidates, right?
D.
Oh, I'm sorry, B, yes.
Yeah, B.
With option B.
D. Oh,
Yeah, it looks like D, right? But it's option B.
D, sorry.
So, are we assuming that the exact same artwork will be on both sides of the box and then just color matching on the sides?
Yeah, let's have a discussion with him and see if
Yeah.
he's gonna put
Because, I
that
mean-
on both sides, and then,
And it's just looking at he's charging essentially for the labor, right, and materials. And it's painting one out of the 4 sides. So I assume there's going to be a greater expense for both sides. So if the city council is comfortable with that, we can move forward that way with this one piece. But as a whole, right, there's 4 sides to each of these boxes. Now, I don't know, in this location on Harbor Street and Eastern, if it only faces, like if the back end only faces nothing, right, then it might be pointless. But I think I want you to keep that in mind, that there is 4 sides, and it may be appropriate to either do B on both sides or A and B on whatever, just want to make that point.
I'm okay with that, but should we choose a different one, or you wanna keep it the same?
I was actually thinking
A and B?
but I'm okay with everything that's
A and B. I'm good with A and B as well.
Okay,
I like the telephone.
understood.
Okay, what about the shadow art though? He had R2D2 as a shadow art that goes off.
That's cute.
You guys okay with that?
I'm tired of Star Wars.
What?
Too much Star Wars. I'm sorry. Did I just say that out loud? I'm so sorry. I don't mean to offend all the Star Wars lovers.
You must be a Star Trek fan.
I'm not.
I think he picked it because of the shape of the mailbox, so we can put a silhouette of Noel as art shadow.
I don't know.
Pass on that
I
one.
feel like we have a bunch of Star Wars, but whatever you guys decide on.
Well, it looks like is it on Commerce Way? Yeah, it's Commerce Way. There's Star Wars on Commerce Way already. Boom, boom, boom. Might as well just
Yeah, keep the theme.
make it all, keep the thing the same.
Whatever you guys decide.
Okay.
I stick to my comments. It's too much.
Does anyone like the telephone booth?
I like it too. I do too.
It's gonna take us back, right, Hugo?
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
I mean, do you want to approve the telephone poles, I mean, the telephone booths as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's cute.
I'm good with that. You guys good?
Yes.
Well, let's add the telephone booth.
3 items, I got it.
And Star Wars, and, okay, cool, that's 3.
Yes.
Got it? Do we need to do anything? Oh, a motion. Is there a motion to approve?
To pass
There's
3 art.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Thanks.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes.
I oppose.
What? Star Trek fan. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 3. I'm sorry, 11. Which
Okay.
is the Art in Public Places Program art installation at 5281 Washington Boulevard.
Okay, Honorable Mayor, members of the council, this is the proposed artwork for 5281 East Washington Boulevard. Go ahead and go to the next slide. As you can see by the proposed artwork, it is, go to the next slide. It's a wraparound. The building is pretty unique. It's it's a corner, but it's circular. So the artwork proposed is a wraparound around the entire piece. Go to the next slide. So it would incorporate this along with, go to the previous slide, with the total, or what the drafter shows with regards to continuing on beyond the welder. What I'm not sure is one of the hand drawings there has the welder with like a sombrero. I don't know if that's what's being proposed or not.
Yeah, it is. Because the sign that he has there now, he wanted to leave it up. I don't know if you have a picture of that.
Go back to the very first one.
Yeah, you can't zoom and see that welder with the sombrero. He actually wanted to leave it, but it just, I think there could be a better. You like it? All right, let's. I know you are. Yeah. I know.
So the proposed project cost is $12,000. But again, it's a wraparound.
All right. Is there any questions on this one? Okay. Is there then a motion to approve this?
Before we move, Mayor, so I mean, I'm having trouble understanding the what this is going to look like.
Okay.
Can you do something like bring us something what it's going to actually look like when it's done?
So let's let me see. Is this the first one?
No, go to the next slide.
Okay. So the bottom picture is where it's all gonna get wrapped around to the building. Now the picture up on top, he's now showing like the border, an Aztec border, Mexican blanket concept, and he's just showing patterns now of what it's going to look, and he's also putting colors out because it's going to incorporate, it's going to have those colors. If you go to the next one, next one. Okay, well, we have more pictures on our agenda than we have up there, and let's see. Right? Do we
Are
have
you
more
talking
pictures?
about these
Yeah,
pictures
okay,
here?
Those are all colors he's going to pull out and put them into this wraparound.
But not necessarily these
It's not
paintings.
gonna. It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be the colors.
Just the colors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So he wanted us to see the colors of what it's gonna look like. That's why that proposed concept, he put like the purple, orange, pink, green, blue, red. So he's trying to show like the vibrant colors that's gonna go into this piece of art.
I like it. It's upgrading the building. The picture looks nicer. And we've seen Nerves work before, so I know he'll do a great job.
I just am not getting I'd like to see the finished proposal of what it's going to look like, to actually really say, hey, I like this, I think this looks good. It definitely would be an improvement over what's there now, for sure. Also considering that they just tagged it, I believe just yesterday it was tagged. So, but but it definitely would be an improvement. I just would like to see exactly what it's going to look like. Could he just do something, show us a rendering of it, take the picture and, impose the painting of what he envisions it's going to look like?
I think he can, yeah,
I don't mind,
Because
I don't mind approving it, moving forward with the approval, subject to us looking and accepting what he's going to be, what it's going to look like. So that we
Okay.
still have some input with regards to that.
Okay.
So I'm okay with moving forward.
Okay, so we move forward, then can he then send a concept and then you send it to everybody individually and get feedback, or how? Yeah, okay.
Well, part of this is you give me discretion to come up with an agreement. Before I sign that agreement, you would have to approve the concepts on the artwork. And if we can't get consensus, then I would bring the item back.
Okay. All right then.
A motion?
So there's a motion
A motion.
with Councilmember Argumedo's suggestion.
I'll second that.
There's a, okay.
All right,
Want me
and
to
all,
push
and
that?
all we're looking for is for us to get the actual finished product so that we can review it and say, yeah, this looks good, or if we need to make any additional changes to that, that's all. But
So if there were a motion tonight, it would be to authorize me to enter into an agreement. Before I sign that agreement, you'd like to see a final concept of the drawing.
So,
Yeah.
so good.
You can
Want me to motion?
send an email.
With the agreement.
Okay, there's a motion with the agreement. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes.
What,
Okay, now, item number 12, Arts and Public Places Program, art installation, and it has the wrong address, right? 5650 Joseph, because all this is getting moved to Washington Boulevard. And Benson had provided some addresses. I'm not sure if you have that.
I don't.
You don't?
Code in the presentation? Yeah.
So it's not going
No. It is, they want it on Washington. People want it on Washington.
Put in the next slide.
He wants to save this for something else. So this is the artist that created the tequila bottle, Mandela. And all he does is murals with love, and for some reason people are always looking for his pieces of art and taking selfies. But it looks like there's 4 concepts, Ernie, on our paperwork. He's proposing all 4.
Right, so my understanding was that on the original location, if you go to the building, there's panels essentially. Those panels would be the ones that are selected. But that is facing Gilson, not Washington.
Yeah, so the building on Washington is the same thing, but it has panels just like that. That's the building in between Fidelia and Leo. It's a long block. By the liquor store? Right next door to the liquor store, the entire building all the way till you can cross the street to the...
This is not the building.
No. That's the building that he had proposed, but I think the arts committee in that area, Hugo was suggesting we take it to Washington Boulevard.
Gonna die.
I did not suggest that we take this particular item to Washington. I suggested, these are my suggestions, just so that everybody kind of understands. Is my thoughts was, we went and toured the area, and my suggestion was focus on a specific area so we can kind of get a little bit more done. And since we started with the arts districts down Washington, it was concentrate on Washington. Number 1, get the artwork up, and number 2, make sure we get lighting installed to go along with it, because I think the lighting at night would really accentuate, what you're putting up on this wall. So that's what I was saying, but that was my recommendation. This particular item, that we didn't cover, of course. So, I just want to make sure that we're clear about that. But I'm okay with his artwork. His artwork is okay with me. It just doesn't speak to me, to be honest with you. It doesn't speak to me, but I'm okay.
Okay, yeah, and I mean, I think that this building will be a little more difficult to put art because we have to still meet with the business owners here. They want to be able to prove something. On this particular building, Benson is telling us, hey, you guys can almost do anything you want in this area. So he's allowing us to put something without having many discussions with him or any tenants there because he doesn't have any tenants there.
Mayor, could we, just for the sake of just clarity, just so we understand, could we, if there's an address or like a location being identified, could we understand what that is? And maybe the Arts and Public Places Committee can discuss it first before it comes back, just so we know exactly, like, hey, we know the concepts, right? So I don't think there's any questions about that, but where's it going to go?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no clarity here, so we can do you like the piece of art? I mean, would you want it on Washington Boulevard? Because then from there, what Ernie could do in the morning is send you guys a picture of the building, just pictures of the building. I'm just not sure why I didn't land on this.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah? Okay.
I just think it's wise for us to know exactly where it's going to go and, try to visualize it and understand it. Because I honestly, I went into this meeting thinking, oh, it's going to go over there. Like,
yeah. So we have, go ahead and back up to Fidelia. Okay, so we have, now face the building. We have where the blue car is. We have that building all the way to the liquor store. So now you can go towards City Hall. Now those are the nice panels to your right. Keep going. All that building, all the way to the liquor store. Right there. So there's probably, I don't know, like 15 panels or more. The liquor store also wants to do something in the future so we can get rid of all those banners, right? Because Ernie, you said those banners is illegal, or who had said that on the liquor store?
Yeah, you're not allowed to do what they're doing.
So are you guys okay with that entire brick building start to use as a campus? Benson gave us a green light on that.
Mayor, can we pull this item for now?
Yep.
And let's have further discussion on it, and I would recommend we have that discussion with the Arts Committee, and let's just clarify anything that needs further clarification so that we can get buy-in for a future meeting.
Perfect. Okay.
Right.
Ernie, you got that?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, then. So now we'll move on to a public hearing, item number 13. Which is to consider an ordinance of the City Council, City of Commerce, California, amending Title 19. Who's gonna report on that?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm Jessica Serrano, your Community Development Director. And this ordinance is a city-initiated zoning ordinance text amendment to establish artificial turf regulations for all zones citywide and in the public right-of-way. To provide some background on this item, on July 30th, 2025, The Planning Commission continued this item to the August 20th meeting to allow time for staff to revise the ordinance and address concerns that were raised by the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission then voted and recommended to the City Council to approve this ordinance with a 302 vote on August 20th, 2025. Next slide. State legislation grants cities authorities to either ban or limit artificial turf. The current regulations that the city has do not allow artificial turf. Because of our drought conditions and increased community interest in installing artificial turf, the city initiated this zoning ordinance text amendment. Next slide. The slide shows some pros and cons to artificial turf. Some of the pros include that it's low maintenance, conserves water, it stays green, and it's non-allergenic. Some of the cons include that there's a heat island effect with the rubber, the plastic. There's concerns over chemicals, and they can harbor bacteria and odors. Next slide. This next slide shows some photos of what artificial turf looks like. And the next slide has a diagram of what the installation is typically includes, which is typically five layers of which includes some rock, decomposed granite, weed barriers, and some infill to keep the blades upright. Next slide. The proposed regulations include that on private properties, the artificial turf would be allowed in setbacks, parking areas, and in other landscape areas in all zones. They would be required to maintain a minimum of 30% of the required setbacks visible from the street with some live plant materials. So it wouldn't be allowed 100% artificial turf. They need to include some live plants. And then they would also need to make sure that the plants and the trees are suitable for our climate zone. The approval process is that on residential properties, it would be a staff approval. We would make sure that it meets all the code requirements. And for the non-residential properties, the first review would be done by staff, making sure that meets the zoning code requirements. And the final approval would be done by a planning commission on consent. Next slide. Some of the, and also the regulations include requirements for public right-of-way. It would be allowed in the landscape parkways, which is the areas, the landscaping by the sidewalks, and those would be subject to approval by the Public Works Director. Some of the prohibitions include that the artificial turf cannot be installed in lieu of paved surfaces or in driveways or parking areas. That cheap plastic nylon artificial turf is prohibited. Also, artificial shrubs are also prohibited as well. And we would prohibit materials containing toxic substances such as the shredded recycled tires. Next slide. It also includes some material requirements, such as the blade height must be 1.5 inches, no heavy metals or organic fill is required. The installation must be done by a professional with the proper site preparations done. And then the maintenance must be maintained attractive and clean and untorn. Next slide. At this time, it is recommended that the City Council consider opening the public hearing, taking testimonial and documentary evidence. After closing the public hearing, introducing and waiving first reading of the ordinance, enacting zoning text amendment number 25-01, adopting a categorical exemption, and taking such additional related action that may be desirable. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Yeah, any questions?
One question. Liability, are we okay on, even though it's a public right-of-way? I mean, obviously it's ours. Does the liability then, that's still our liability, is that correct?
That's an excellent question, and I'll take a stab at answering it. If our attorney wants to chime in, feel free. But we've included a requirement that if a resident decides to put artificial turf in the public right-of-way, that they would sign a waiver that would basically state that the city, if needed, if the city needs to do some public improvements in that area and they dig up and they ruin the artificial turf, that the city is not liable for replacement of that. They would be responsible for replacing it.
All right, and in addition, for me, I wasn't specifically asking about that, but I'm asking more with regards to, I don't know, I mean, some of the turf sometimes you tend to trip on, you know? And so if we have any issues along those lines, the liability, where does that lie? Is it with the work being done by the owner or is it with us, the city?
I would suggest that if that issue seems like a very good question to me that hasn't been posed, then I think we should probably continue this item to really take a look at any potential liability related to city authorizing turf being, on the right of way. I think that is something I would want to take a look at, and I don't have an answer for you tonight.
Yeah, we'll evaluate it. I mean, I can't imagine it's any greater liability than grass. Grass grows unevenly and there's holes and the city has access to put a sidewalk, for example, in that easement area. But it doesn't necessarily mean we have liability. Now, that doesn't stop anybody from suing the property owner and the city anyway, if something were to happen, but I'm fine either way if we want to continue to get a clear answer on that.
All right, you understand why I'm asking. I'm only asking because I know that we've had different places you go to where I've seen it installed in other places and it tends to kind of lift up and whatnot. And next thing you know, you have somebody, whether they're walking by or running through the area, next thing you know, they trip and there's an injury. And next thing you know, we're going to be in that chain of if they decide to take action, we'll be in that chain. And we will have approved it. We've got the recommendations here. And therefore, we will probably be the first ones they're going to come after is going to be us. So that's why I'm asking the question.
Understood. We'll get a clear answer.
All right. Thank you.
Because this is a public hearing, I would recommend that the city council continue the public hearing to the next regularly scheduled meeting. Did we open the public hearing?
We're about to.
Okay, so I would open the public hearing and then continue this item when the public hearing is open to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
So you're saying we're going to continue? We're not going to make decisions on this one? Or?
That's a suggestion. That's my suggestion, given the question that's been asked by the council member.
Okay.
I don't have a clear
All right.
answer to that.
But there's one more question.
Yeah, sure.
Go
Well,
ahead.
since we're going to, it's okay. Well, just a quick question. Do you know why the current commerce ordinance said no to the turf?
Unfortunately, I don't have that background.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna open
Mayor,
a public
if
hearing.
you don't mind, can we get an answer to that if it's available so that at least we'll have that additional information moving forward on that?
Yes, certainly.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, so I would recommend opening the public hearing and then continue item to the next regularly scheduled meeting.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Is there any speakers? No? Okay, then we're going to move this item to the next agenda. Or am I supposed to close the public hearing?
No, I would say that now there's a motion to continue this item to
Okay,
the
there's a
next
motion.
regularly scheduled
Okay,
meeting.
is there a motion?
New item to the next scheduled.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, motion passes. We're going to go to another public hearing. Item number 14 is to consider an ordinance of the City Council, City of Commerce, California, enacting zoning ordinance, text amendment. And I'll go ahead and open up public hearing now. Is there any public speakers? Seeing none, then we'll go ahead and close it. And then who's going to report on this one?
Yes, good evening. The presentation will be made by Scott Sheldon from Terra Realty Advisors.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Mr. City Manager. My name is Scott Sheldon with Terra Realty Advisors. And Real quick, in terms of background, our firm was hired to take a look at the options and opportunities for the City of Commerce, not only in terms of what signs are out there, but also the legal structures that are in place right now through the sign ordinance. We compared that with Caltrans regulations, other city regulations, and proposed amendments to the code that would permit potentially digital billboards within the city to generate revenue. We had 2 study sessions with the council in August and September and confirmed the overall objective of what we were trying to accomplish, discussed council members' concerns and questions and issues, and we confirmed interest from the council in looking at a potential revision of the ordinance. And the direction at that time was to proceed with preparing potential zone text amendments and establish a path forward to consider new digital billboards through a development agreement or a lease agreement. The Planning Commission heard this matter on September 17th and recommended approval to the council. So just a quick update again, summarizing the key components. We've added certain updates and new terms. With the sign ordinance would allow only signs in the CPF and commercial industrial zones along and adjacent to Interstate 5 and Interstate 710. And static to digital conversions would only be in commercial and industrial areas. Next. Prohibited signs would include nothing that had any full motion to that, anything that's inflatable, or which again has motion, live feed, flashing, animated, or other similar things that would be very distracting, which is very important not to have. Maximum size signs based on Caltrans regulations are shown at 1,200 square feet. Maximum height structure we're proposing is 75 feet, and then only one digital face per direction, so typically 2 faces, not 3. The same thing for static signs, if there were conversion on that. The lighting levels, we would limit to industry standard, and also the distance would be Caltrans standards of 1,000 feet between digital signs, and this is on the same side of the freeway, along with 500 feet between static and digital billboards on the same side. It would not be allowed in a designated landscape freeway, that's a Caltrans overlay, unless it was approved by the city and Caltrans, and that would involve a relocation or a takedown of signs. Any landscaping would need to be incorporated at the base when possible. Sometimes that is a little bit more feasible than other times. The non-conforming signs could not be altered, removed, or rebuilt unless it was replaced and converted to digital, again, through a development agreement or a lease agreement. The approval process would require the negotiation and formalization of a development agreement or a lease agreement or a license, and that would be taken through the Planning Commission and then with the City Council having the final approval. The amendments and the highlights are that this would regulate all new or converted off-premise signs. And again, just by way of definition, off-premise signs are something where you're not advertising an activity or sales of something that is actually physically on that property. It would amend the existing billboard regulations to ensure that safety to meet all the city requirements and Caltrans requirements. It would encourage the the conversion of existing static billboards to digital, enhance the image, reducing visual clutter by hopefully eliminating and removing signs, and we would address the city council concerns, again, with anything that has motion or lighting that would impact residents or other people. And then I'll let Jessica do the staff recommendation.
Thank you, Scott. At this time, staff recommends that the City Council adopt a categorical exemption under the CEQA guidelines and also adopt the ordinance amending Chapter 19.25 of the Commerce Municipal Code as proposed. Both staff and our consultant are available for any questions.
Is there any questions of the staff or the consultant? I think we're pretty clear. Okay.
If there's no comments or questions, Mayor, I would move to approve staff's recommendation as presented, and also as it is written on our agendas.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion second. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Moving on to item number.
Mr. Mayor, for a second, typically the city clerk's office will read the title of the ordinance, so I can read it if you'd like me to. Okay. Okay.
For item number 14, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Commerce, California, enacting zoning ordinance text amendment ZTA number 25-02, amending Title 19, Chapter 19.25 of the Commerce Municipal Code, signs, amending existing billboard regulations and adding citywide digital billboard regulations.
Okay. We're going to move on to item number 16. With, 15? Did I skip this one? Trying to get that one. All right. It's going to be item number 15, which is the introduction and first reading of an ordinance enacting zoning ordinance text amendment number 25-4. You're going to be reporting on that?
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Jessica Serrano again. This zoning ordinance text amendment proposed by Tim Cam, owner of Dirt Dog, is to allow entertainment establishment in certain manufacturing zones, create parking requirements for this use, and revise the definition of entertainment establishments. Next slide. To provide background on this item, on July 19, 2023, Planning Commission approved beer and wine sales at Dirt Dog at 2909 Supply. The property is zoned M2. The applicant is seeking to extend permitted alcohol service hours, introduce live entertainment, and provide remote parking options for larger events. In reviewing this application, staff determined or found that the code didn't allow for what the applicant is proposing. On June 24th, 2025, City Council directed staff to approve temporary use permit to allow temporary events at, for a 6-month period at this restaurant, Dirt Dog. On August 20th, 2025, the Planning Commission reviewed this zoning text amendment, directed staff to make amendments, and continued the public hearing on September 17th, 2025. On that same day, the Planning Commission recommended City Council approval with a 401 vote. Next slide. The existing regulations within our municipal code include that there are entertainment uses listed, such as outdoor recreation, movie theaters, bars, which are allowed in manufacturing zones, but entertainment establishments are specifically not listed or allowed. The applicant's proposal is therefore not allowed based on our current regulations. Next slide. The following slides summarize the proposed code updates to allow entertainment establishments within certain manufacturing zones to add operation standards to mitigate impacts of this use and to add parking requirements. On the slide, you'll see that we listed that the allowed zones for entertainment establishments are the commercial manufacturing, CM1, and the heavy manufacturing zones. We thought these were the most appropriate zones for this use, given that these zones allow higher intense types of uses. And also, the proposal is to add a definition of sensitive noise receptors, which typically include residential uses, hospitals, schools, libraries, and others. Next slide. In the proposed regulations, we included a distance requirement to sensitive noise receptors. For indoor events, it would be 200 feet, except for properties on Atlantic and Washington, Boulevard, they would be exempt from this requirement. Also, the distance requirement for outdoor events would be 500 feet, and there's no exception for that distance requirement. There would also be limited hours of operation if there's an entertainment establishment within 200 feet of the sensitive noise receptors. They would need to avoid disruption and excessive noise, they would need to cease operations between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m. But through the development agreement process, City Council can modify those hours if needed. Next slide. We also included that if the city approves the use of street parking or remote parking locations, off-site parking, then there must be some findings that are made. These include that it's justified that they can use, these off-site parking options, and that they demonstrate that the street parking will not negatively affect neighborhoods, residential neighborhoods, or surrounding businesses. And it also ensures that there's a finding that must be made to ensure that the use of remote parking locations will not compromise public health, safety, and welfare. Next slide. This next slide shows the revised table where entertainment establishment is added. The C represents conditional use permit. So the C is being added under CM1 and M2. So that means a conditional use permit would be required for entertainment establishments within those zones. In addition to that, they would also need to enter into a development agreement with the city. This would give the city additional controls to regulate this use. The applicants for this type of business would also need to ensure that they include a public benefit of some sort. Next slide. This next slide shows the off-site parking requirements table, adding the parking requirements for entertainment establishments. Because this use is very unique in that, it could vary from one type to another. We thought the parking study requirement would be the most appropriate. The applicants would be required to prepare a parking study by a licensed engineer and to determine how much parking is required for a specific use or entertainment establishment. And to utilize the off-site parking options, they would have to enter into a shared parking agreement with the property owners, and the city would they would need to provide a copy of that shared parking agreement to the city. They would also need to prepare a transportation plan if there's remote parking further than 1,000 feet away. Next slide. As part of the proposal, there's also a revision to the entertainment establishment definition. The definition is expanded to include both indoor and outdoor entertainment. It also allows entertainment establishment as both a principal and an accessory use. Next slide. At this point, staff recommends that the City Council consider opening the public hearing. After closing the public hearing and considering evidence, introducing and waiving first reading of the ordinance, enacting zoning ordinance text amendment number 25-04, adopting a categorical exemption, and taking such additional related action that may be desirable. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for questions.
Is there any questions from City Council? Go ahead.
Yes. So they are currently operating under a temporary use permit, is that correct?
Yes.
For some of these events, correct?
Yes.
That they're holding. And have we followed up on any ongoing problems that may have existing out there under the TUP?
Yes, we've checked with our sheriff's department to see if there's been any issues that they need to report, and they haven't reported any events or incidents.
Have we checked the streets over there? I know that there's a lot of folks that drive in the vicinity that do the donuts and racing and all of that. Have we taken a look at that?
There have been no reported incidents such as that, but, there has been evidence of, the
Yeah,
markings on the street.
there was a lot of it, and also there was a lot of graffiti in the general area, vicinity of the area there. So, and I know that we've had these discussions with the owner about some of the ongoing, problems that we've had in the past, and I just want to make sure that all of those were addressed. What about the added security and monitoring that he was going to be doing? Has that been implemented?
Yes, they did submit a security plan as part of their temporary use permit. And based on the number of attendees, depends on how much security that they're providing. And they've been adhering to that, to our knowledge.
Okay. Okay. Those are my questions. I had some concerns with regards to that, and I know that others have raised concerns about that. And we just wanted to make sure some of those things were addressed, which I know that he had indicated he would address all of those items. And I just want to make sure that they were addressed.
Yes, and I do want to add that separately, if council decides to take action to approve this tonight, that applicant will have to come separately, in addition to this, in front of the Planning Commission and City Council for a development agreement and a conditional use permit. So you'll have another opportunity there to, make sure that, we have the proper controls for that use.
How do we mitigate some of the issues that I'm talking about? And in particular, I'm talking about the street racing that happens in the area, the folks that are doing the donuts. And I know that you can probably make an argument to say that, well, people do this out here. They're not part of, they didn't come to the establishment. I get it, but at some point you have to, there's a lot of it right in that area there. And I can't say that, that was there prior to that establishment doing business there, because I didn't go there before. I've been there on a couple occasions now. And since being there, those are the things that I noted. There's a lot of activity of those, a lot of the street racing. You can see where they, basically, marked up the streets with the donuts or just racing. You can tell where they've been doing a lot of racing in the whole area there. So how do we mitigate that? I want to make sure that we try to address that. For sure, the added security that I think is important. We don't want something like that to get out of hand and have a problem in the future. So we need to properly mitigate that. And I know that he was going to get additional security. I just want to make sure that we have an adequate security plan to address any of that.
Definitely understand your concerns, and I will say that staff did facilitate a meeting between the applicant and our sheriffs. Actually, we should do a new meeting because we have a new, sergeant here, but we did facilitate that meeting in the past, and the sergeant did provide the applicant with really valuable advice as to how they can help mitigate, those types of events.
We also recently met specifically about this use with the captain and the sergeant as a whole, like the implications of these events and the potential consequences of events of this nature.
Okay, great.
And if I can add to this, what the director already pointed out, that anyone in that zone, if this is approved by the council tonight, they'll have to come back to the city council to get a development agreement. In that development agreement, you would list kind of what would be considered a breach in the agreement. So if their operation or anybody's operation causes these impacts and the city council makes those findings, then they're at risk of getting their development agreement revoked. So this isn't an open by right use consideration tonight. It will be regulated, and I think the questions that you're raising will be addressed, hopefully to your satisfaction as it comes to the city council, when it comes to city council, on a case-by-case basis through the development agreement.
Okay, all right, thank you.
What are the possibilities of adding speed bumps in that area? Can we take a look at that?
Certainly, we can have our Public Works Director take a look.
Yeah, we can take a look at it. I guess the only issue in that area would be the day use is industrial, heavy industrial, so how that impacts that, but we'll look at it.
Thank you. Councilwoman?
Oh, thank you. You mentioned here in your summer background, the entertainment process. Can you explain to me a little bit more in detail how that works? Because the location is very tiny. I feel like it's a small location. What do you mean by entertainment? Outdoors or indoors?
Sure. So this coded update includes, modifications to the definition of entertainment establishment to include both indoor and outdoor. So it's just in general, like it could be entertainment that's done inside the building. It could be outdoor, like for example, Dirt Dog does like outdoor vendor markets. So that would be considered like outdoor entertainment as well.
Are you also talking about concerts?
Concerts as well, yes. The definition includes music events.
Okay.
And I want to, tonight's purpose is to change what's allowed in these zones, right? That particular location, that particular business owner still has to come before the city council for a development agreement that further stipulates uses and what is and what isn't acceptable. So I just want to make that clear that this would allow this function, like the neighboring business in that zone could pursue a venture like this, right? But that issue specific to that location and the size of their events, because that does matter, especially in the permitting process for example, inspection for fire department, right? It matters how much the capacity matters and what they have available and not available. So, and all that will be kind of stipulated in the agreement that the city or that the applicant will seek with the city. But this, first and foremost, that function, that use, right, it will be allowed now as a result of today's hearing if the city council moves forward.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to open up public hearing. Is there any speakers? There's no speakers submitted. Okay, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and we're going to be introducing and waiving first reading of ordinance. If it passes, or we have to call a motion. Is there a motion to introduce and waive the first reading of the ordinance, enacting zoning ordinance text amendment number 25-04? And that comes along with item B, adopting a categorical exemption under provision of CEQA, and also take, that's it, right?
Correct. It would be, if the motion is staff's as recommended in the staff report, items 2A and 2B.
2A, 2B, okay. Is there a motion? There's a motion. Is there a second? I'll go ahead and second that. There's a motion second. All in favor?
No.
No? Okay.
I'm a no.
Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Argumedo?
No.
Councilmember Garcia?
No.
Councilmember Rebollo?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lainez?
Yes.
And Mayor Altamirano?
Before I cast my vote, I'll have this question. Would this affect the Arts District and, the Brewery Food District and the Rosewood area too?
Kevin, can you go to, keep going. One more, right here. The entertainment establishments would be allowed with a conditional use permit and a development agreement in the CM1 zone and the M2 zones. If you're referring to Washington area, that corridor is CM1. So entertainment establishments would be allowed on Washington, Atlantic, with a development agreement and a CUP.
So if we don't pass this, it won't allow Washington Boulevard and Atlantic to move forward with this entertainment stuff?
That's right.
You don't want Rosewood? Well, yeah, I'm going to move forward with it. So there's the roll call then is, you guys got the roll call. Two. Okay. All right, motion passes. We'll go ahead and,
We have to read the ordinance. This is for item number 15. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Commerce, California, enacting zoning ordinance text amendment ZTA number 25-04, amending Title 19 zoning of the Commerce Municipal Code, CMC, to allow entertainment establishments in certain manufacturing zones, create parking requirements for this use, and revise the definition for entertainment establishments.
okay, we will move on to item number 16, a resolution amending user, which is planning, fees for planning permits and approvals.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, Jessica Serrano again. This item is a public hearing to amend planning fees, which is initiated by the city. Next slide. The Planning Division is part of the Community Development Department, along with the Building and Safety, Code Enforcement, Economic Development, and Housing. Next slide. The Planning Division provides a variety of services to the community as it relates to land uses and property development, including review and approval of development proposals by developers and property owners and new business approvals. The planning services are funded by user fees and a general fund allocation to support long-range planning initiatives and customer service responsibilities. Next slide. To provide background for this item, in 2018, the city hired Wildan Financial Services to conduct a user fee study for building and safety and planning fees. On September 1st, 2020, City Council adopted a resolution to update building and planning fees based on this user fee study. But in those fees that were adopted, there were many planning fees that were omitted, that were included in the study, but were not adopted. That's created some issues for our planning operations. And that's the reason for this fee amendment. Next slide. The city staff conducted a survey of nearby cities to compare how the proposed fees compare to others. We found that the proposed fees are generally in line with the surrounding cities. This slide shows only 5 of, it's a total of 9 cities that we looked at. Only 5 are shown just for purposes of easier reading. But generally, our fees, some tend to be higher, some tend to be lower, but we're generally we are generally in line with what other cities are charging for similar services. State law requires that the fees charged by the city reasonably reflect the cost for providing the service. And the proposed fee adjustments are based on the most recent fee study from 2020. Which ensures that the updated amount align with the actual cost of service. The recommended amendment also includes an adjustment to account for inflation and other cost increases that have occurred between 2020 and today. In addition, it introduces new planning fees, shown on the next slide, for routine services that are not currently being recovered. And the line items shown in red are new ones that weren't included in the prior study and were not previously adopted fees. These fees are either based on similar applications or in the user fee, or they're deposits that can be used to pay for city consultants and staff time. Next slide. At this time, staff recommends that City Council consider opening public hearing, considering the evidence submitted, approving a resolution amending the planning fees, adopting a categorical exemption, and taking such additional related action that may be desirable. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing. Was there anybody from the public wanting to speak? Nobody submitted any cards. All right, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion to approve staff's recommendation number 2 with A and B? There's a motion. I'll go ahead and second. All in favor? Let's do a roll call.
Councilmember Argumedo,
Yes.
Councilmember Garcia,
Abstain.
Councilmember Rebollo, Vice Mayor Lainez,
Yes.
and Mayor Altamirano.
Yes, motion passes. We'll move on to city council reports, and I'll go ahead and, who's ready? Is my left or right ready? Who wants to volunteer? You go? Okay. Councilman Garcia.
You guys, Lisa, do you have it up? Oh, thank you. I just want to thank my colleagues for supporting my initiative to have this plaque dedicated to all the men and women who have been wounded or killed in action by the enemy forces. This plaque is a small token of my appreciation to honor your bravery. Thank you for keeping us all safe, and the plaque is very beautiful, and we will be presenting this on November 11th. That concludes. Also, thank you, Mayor, for supporting me with this plaque and giving me nice ideas on how to create this. And thank you to the staff that put it together, which is Kat and I believe Anthony. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Councilman Rebollo.
I just wanted to thank Parks and Rec and Brenda Fernandez who did the women's giveaway weekend. I very rarely have a chance now to work with myself, so it was really nice to get away, and honestly, for all of you, if you have a chance, you really need to sign up. It's you go above and beyond to just it was a good time. It was a really nice time to not just relax, but get to know a lot of women in our community that I just never met. So thank you to Brenda and all of the staff that worked together. I don't want to even mention because I don't want to get wrong to so everybody that helped with putting this event together, from plant staff to Parks and Rec to her immediate staff that worked there. Thank you so much for the wonderful weekend. And that really be nice to talk. That's it. So thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilmember Romero.
I don't have anything to report at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple minor things. Well, not minor, but quick things. I attended the Citadel's Cleanup Commerce event this past Saturday. So I do want to thank Ken, Donna, Matt, and the rest of the team up there at the Citadel Outlets for running the event and also the contributions that they made to the youth organizations that participated. And of course, I do want to acknowledge and thank some of the organizations from our city who participated, like the Commerce Boys and Girls Water Polo programs, Unplugged Performing Arts, and the Commerce Crush. So great event and very impactful and helped strengthen a connection to the community. There's a lot going on right now. I also went to the LAFC Community Night on October 5th, so I certainly want to thank the Parks and Rec Department, as well as our Transportation Department for shuttling us over from City Hall to I'll always call it the Bank of California, but it's actually the BMO Stadium. LAFC won 1-0, so it was a really great event. And one thing I mentioned is that LAFC is 2-0 whenever Commerce shows up, so that's exciting. So looking forward to next year. That's really all I have to report, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and I really don't have anything to report as well. So this meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.